Most people believe that mornings are the safest time of the day, a moment of renewal.
But as a brain doctor, I must warn you that for people over 65, morning is actually one of the most dangerous times.
The truth is that your body is not as ready as you think when you first wake up.
After hours of lying still, your blood pressure, heart rhythm, and circulation shift.
It is the everyday morning habits you think are harmless that can skyrocket your stroke risk overnight.
Imagine this. An older man wakes up feeling fine. He quickly jumps out of bed.
Pours a cup of strong coffee on an empty stomach and plans to skip breakfast.
By mid-morning, he suddenly feels dizzy. His speech slurs. What seemed like an ordinary morning has just triggered a stroke.
Sadly, this is not an isolated story. I have seen countless patients.
What you need to understand is that after 65, your blood vessels are no longer as flexible.
Plaques may have built up silently. Your heart may not pump as strongly.
So when you stress your body, you create the perfect storm for a stroke to happen.
In this video, I am going to reveal 5 common morning habits.
Before we dive in, if you have not subscribed yet, hit that button.
Part 1. Jumping out of bed too quickly.
One of the most dangerous morning habits is jumping out of bed too quickly.
The sudden shift from lying down to standing upright places enormous stress on your heart.
When you lie down for hours, fluids naturally pool in the central parts of your body.
Then, when you suddenly sit up and stand, gravity pulls blood toward your legs.
In healthy younger people, the body instantly adjusts. But in older adults, this response is slower.
The result is a sudden drop in blood pressure to the brain. This condition, known as orthostatic hypotension,
It often causes dizziness, lightheadedness, or even fainting when you get up too quickly.
But what many people do not realize is that these sudden drops can also trigger strokes.
if a clot is already present, the sudden shift can push it toward the brain.
If your vessels are fragile, the rapid changes in pressure can lead to bleeding.
I have seen patients who reported feeling fine, only to collapse moments later.
Some were lucky and experienced only a transient ischemic attack.
Research supports this concern. Studies show that older adults are at significantly higher risk.
The solution is simple but powerful. When you wake up, do not rush.
First, roll to your side and rest there for a minute. Then sit up slowly and take a few deep breaths.
Place your feet on the floor and wait before standing.
This gentle transition gives your body time to adjust circulation.
If this surprised you, wait until you hear about the next morning habit, skipping breakfast.
Part 2. Skipping breakfast.
Many people believe that skipping breakfast is a healthy way to cut calories or save time.
But for seniors,
Your brain depends on a steady supply of glucose.
When you skip breakfast, you force your body into a state of low blood sugar.
During the night, your body uses stored energy. By morning, those reserves are already low.
For younger people, the body can often compensate. But in older adults,
Even short periods of hypoglycemia can damage brain cells.
Low blood sugar also makes you feel weak, dizzy, which raises the chance of falls.
Skipping breakfast also has a profound effect on blood pressure and cholesterol.
Without food, the body releases stress hormones like cortisol to maintain energy.
Over time, they contribute to the buildup of fatty deposits.
Another hidden danger is blood clotting. Increases platelet activity.
For seniors with stiff arteries, this can be catastrophic.
I have seen seniors who believed skipping breakfast was helping, only to suffer sudden neurological symptoms.
When we looked closer, prolonged morning fasting had created the perfect storm. Part 2. Skipping breakfast.
Many people believe that skipping breakfast is a healthy way to cut calories or save time.
Some even think it is harmless if they are not hungry.
But for seniors, your brain depends on a steady supply of glucose.
When you skip breakfast, you force your body into a state of low blood sugar.
During the night, your body uses stored energy. By morning, those reserves are already low.
For younger people, the body can often compensate. But in older adults,
Even short periods of hypoglycemia can damage brain cells.
Low blood sugar also makes you feel weak, which raises the chance of falls.
Skipping breakfast also has a profound effect on blood pressure and cholesterol. Without food, the body releases stress hormones like cortisol to maintain energy. Over time, they contribute to the buildup of fatty deposits.
Another hidden danger is blood clotting. Fasting increases platelet activity.
For seniors with stiff arteries, this can be catastrophic.
I have seen seniors who believed skipping breakfast was helping, only to suffer sudden neurological symptoms.
When we looked closer, prolonged morning fasting had created the perfect storm.
The good news is that the solution is simple. Eat a balanced breakfast every morning.
Even a small meal can make a huge difference.
Your morning meal sets the tone for your circulation and brain function.
If this surprised you, wait until you hear about the next habit, drinking strong coffee.
Part 3. Drinking strong coffee on an empty stomach.
For many people, coffee is the very first thing they reach for in the morning.
It feels like a quick burst of energy.
but for seniors, strong coffee can quietly create the conditions for a stroke.
When you drink coffee without eating breakfast, caffeine is absorbed more rapidly.
This sudden surge stimulates the nervous system, releasing adrenaline.
The immediate effect is a sharp rise in blood pressure and heart rate. In younger people, the body adapts quickly, but in older adults, this surge can be overwhelming.
Caffeine also causes blood vessels to constrict. This narrowing further limits blood flow to the brain.
Reduced circulation may produce warning signs like headaches or ringing in the ears.
Another hidden danger is dehydration. Coffee is a mild diuretic. Adding strong coffee without replenishing fluids makes the blood thicker.
Thickened blood moving through narrow vessels is a recipe for ischemic stroke.
I recall patients who believed their morning coffee was harmless. But as they grew older, their bodies could no longer tolerate the same surge.
In several cases, these were followed by strokes.
Research confirms this risk. Studies show that older adults are more likely to experience transient ischemic attacks.
The safer approach is clear. Never drink strong coffee on an empty stomach. Have a balanced breakfast first to slow absorption. Better yet, drink water alongside it to stay hydrated.
Herbal teas or warm water with lemon are safer choices.
Coffee may feel like your morning friend, but for seniors it can quietly become a hidden threat.
If this surprised you, wait until you hear about the next morning habit.
Lighting up a cigarette, which not only damages the lungs, but also directly attacks the brain.
Part 4. Morning smoking.
For many longtime smokers, the very first cigarette of the morning feels like a ritual.
They wake up, light up, and believe it calms their nerves.
But as a brain doctor, I must warn you that morning smoking is one of the most dangerous habits.
At the very time your body is most vulnerable.
If this surprised you, wait until you hear about the next morning habit: lighting up a cigarette.
Part 4. Morning smoking.
For many longtime smokers, the very first cigarette of the morning feels like a ritual.
They wake up, light up, and believe it calms their nerves.
But as a brain doctor, I must warn you that morning smoking is one of the most dangerous habits.
At the very time your body is most vulnerable, lighting that cigarette can trigger a chain reaction. After hours of sleep, your body is in a delicate balance. Blood vessels are constricted. The first puff introduces nicotine, carbon monoxide, and thousands of toxic chemicals.
Nicotine acts immediately, causing blood vessels to constrict even more. This narrowing makes it harder for blood to reach the brain.
Nicotine also causes a rapid surge in blood pressure and heart rate.
For seniors with stiffened arteries, if a plaque ruptures, a clot can form.
Blocking circulation and causing an ischemic stroke.
In other cases, the pressure itself can cause a weakened blood vessel to burst.
Carbon monoxide binds to hemoglobin, reducing the brain's supply of oxygen.
Symptoms such as dizziness, blurred vision, or sudden headaches are warning signs.
I have cared for patients. One patient told me he had smoked first thing for 40 years.
Research reveals that smokers who light up within 30 minutes of waking have significantly higher risks.
The safest choice is to quit smoking entirely. But if quitting feels overwhelming,
delaying that first cigarette, pairing this effort with hydration, can help break the cycle. Smoking in the morning is a routine that silently destroys your blood vessels. If this shocked you, wait until you hear about the next morning habit, rushing into strenuous activity. Part 5. Rushing into strenuous activity. Morning exercise is often praised as one of the healthiest habits.
But for seniors, jumping straight into heavy, strenuous activity can silently raise the risk of stroke.
The truth is that your body needs time to transition from the resting state. During sleep, your blood pressure and heart rate are lower. If you immediately begin intense activity, you force your heart to pump harder and faster before it is ready.
This rapid spike in blood pressure can strain fragile blood vessels in the brain.
In older adults, that surge may be enough to rupture a vessel. Another danger is the sudden demand for oxygen in the muscles. Less blood may reach the brain.
For some seniors, this causes dizziness, confusion, or loss of balance.
one man in his late 60s began jogging. But one day he collapsed with weakness on his right side.
Research confirms this risk. Studies show that the incidence of stroke is highest in the early morning hours.
The key is not to avoid exercise, but to approach it wisely. Gentle movement is the safest way.
Start with stretching, light walking, to wake up your circulation gradually.
Give your body at least 15 to 20 minutes to adjust.
Hydrate with water before you begin.
Most importantly, listen to your body. If you feel dizzy, stop immediately.
Exercise remains one of the most powerful ways to prevent stroke, but only when done safely.
If this surprised you, stay with me for the next part.
Part 6. Safer morning routine and advice.
Now that you know the 5 dangerous morning habits, let us focus on what you can do instead.
A safe morning routine is about creating stability for your blood pressure, heart, and brain.
The first step is getting out of bed safely, roll gently, sit up slowly.
The second step is hydration, and start your morning with a glass of warm water.
This rehydrates your system, thins the blood, and helps prevent clot formation.
The third step is a balanced breakfast. Stabilize blood sugar and give you steady energy.
Eating breakfast before coffee or medications also helps protect the stomach.
The fourth step
is avoiding morning smoking.
If you are a smoker, the most powerful change you can make is to skip the first cigarette of the day.
Delay it as long as possible, drink water, and try deep breathing instead.
Over time, these small delays can help you break the cycle completely. Your arteries, your lungs, and especially your brain will thank you.
The fifth step is gentle movement.
Instead of rushing into strenuous exercise, start with stretching, light walking, or Tai Chi.
These activities gradually increase circulation. Warm up your muscles.
If you plan to exercise more intensely, wait at least 30 minutes after waking.
This lowers the strain on your heart and brain.
The sixth step is monitoring your health.
Keep a log of your blood pressure, blood sugar, and any unusual symptoms.
Morning is the best time to take these measurements because it helps you spot early warning signs.
Share these records with your doctor so they can adjust your medications.
Finally, the seventh step is building a calm mindset.
Stress hormones are already high in the morning, and adding mental pressure only strains your body further.
Create a quiet morning ritual, such as gratitude journaling, meditation.
A calm start reduces stress on your heart and circulation.
By replacing dangerous habits with these safer routines, you do more than lower your stroke risk.
You strengthen your independence and give yourself the best chance at living longer and healthier.
If you are over 65, mornings are not just the start of your day. They are the most critical hours.
And in the conclusion, I will summarize the lessons.
Conclusion: protect your brain every morning.
We have reached the end. I want you to pause and reflect on what you have learned.
Stroke is not always the result of rare or dramatic events. Very often, it is triggered by small, everyday choices.
For seniors over 65, mornings are a critical time. The way you rise, fuel your body, choose, light that cigarette, can all determine whether your day begins in health.
We discussed 5 dangerous morning habits that silently raise your stroke risk.
Jumping out of bed too quickly can starve your brain of oxygen.
Skipping breakfast destabilizes blood sugar and circulation.
Drinking strong coffee on an empty stomach spikes blood pressure and thickens the blood.
Morning smoking floods your arteries with toxins and triggers vessel constriction.
And rushing into strenuous activity strains your heart and brain before they are ready.
Each of these habits may feel small, but together they create the perfect storm for a stroke.
The hopeful truth is that these risks are not inevitable. You have the power to change them.
By rising slowly, hydrating, eating, quitting smoking, and beginning with gentle movement. You protect your circulation and give your brain what it needs to thrive.
These simple choices are within your control, and they can dramatically lower your stroke risk.
I have seen patients whose lives were transformed. One woman, another man, a couple.
These are real stories of how small, consistent changes create lasting protection.
Remember, your body still remembers how to heal, even after decades of strain.
The brain is resilient, the heart can recover, and your circulation can improve.
Every morning is an opportunity to choose life and health over habits that quietly destroy.
Now I would love to hear from you. Which of these morning habits have you been guilty of?
Type 1 in the comments if this video gave you valuable knowledge.
Share this video with someone you love, because the life you save may not be your own.
And do not forget to like, share, and subscribe.
Your mornings can either be a silent risk or a powerful shield. The choice is yours.
Protect your brain, protect your independence, and protect your future.